Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. So I've got my coffee and it is bright and early on this Sunday morning and we are just going to have another book talk. It's not going to be anywhere near as long as my first one because my first one was talking about all the books I read for the first 4 months and half of May, and this talk is just going to be the second half of May and then everything for this month as well. I do have one book that I started reading, but I haven't finished it yet, but there's 4 days left in the month, so I'm 100% sure I'll finish it before the end of the month, but I'll talk about that one in the next book check that we do. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So for the month of May, the first book that I'll be talking about is a Kindle book. I actually got it on my Kindle Unlimited, and as you guys know, I'm a Colleen Hoover fan, and it was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. And guys, I'm not a very emotional person when it comes to like books and movies and stuff like that. I don't like, there's not many things that can make me cry, if that makes sense. I'm just pretty like, oh, that's sad, but I don't really like show much emotion for it. But that book, Reminders of Him, made me cry. Like, oh, it was so beautifully written. So basically the premise of the story is that there's this couple, they got into a car accident and she was charged with involuntary manslaughter, and when she went to jail, she found out that she was pregnant, so she had the baby throughout her jail sentence. And then when she got out, she's trying to like reunite with the family to meet her daughter, because her daughter went to go live with her deceased boyfriend's parents. And usually when you have a baby in jail, how they explained it in the book, I don't know if this is true or not, but you're supposed to have 2 days with the baby before the baby goes their way and you go your own. But since her baby was born almost a month premature, she never got that time with the baby because her daughter had to be taken straight away to the NICU and they wouldn't let her go see. So she never got to meet her daughter. She never got to see her. She never got to hold her, nothing. And as a mom myself, like when she's describing all of that, ripped me to shreds, okay? But that and her speaking about her version of events that happened that night, because obviously his family knows what happened through the trials or through the court's eyes, because they only know what happened based on the evidence that was presented and the arguments made, but they never got her side of the story. And so there's this part where she writes like letters to him in the book, and there's this part where she's like writing a letter to him and she's explaining everything that happened and why she didn't really defend herself for it and all that stuff. But anyway, beautifully written by Colleen Hoover. I did not expect to be so emotionally invested like it was, but Reminders of Him, very good read on Kindle Unlimited if you guys want to check it out. So my other Kindle read was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. It was a little slow starting, but it ended up taking a turn for the more intriguing. There are a few scenes that are a little spicy, but it was a very good read, and apparently she's writing the part 2 to that book, and I can't wait to read that one because the way it ended was very nice and I liked it. So I actually only have one audiobook to talk about, and it's Lord, because it took me forever to listen to it. It's like a 22-hour listen on Audible, and it's Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. Now, I never got into any of like the Lord of the Rings or the Harry Potter series or anything like that, so I'm trying to broaden my horizon and get into them now. So I did give that a listen. It was a little slow starting for me, I'm not gonna lie. It was very hard to get through, like I would say maybe the first half of the book, because it was very explaining the scenery and doing, you know, just, it was a little too much explanation for me. I was just like, all right, get to the point with what's happening. But the ending of the book was very good. I will most likely listen to the next two on Audible as well, or maybe I'll get the physical copies. I haven't quite decided how I want to proceed with the other two, but I do definitely want to finish the trilogy. So, moving on to physical books. This is the one we read for our book club for the month of May, and it's called Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this was a very, very hard read. I actually waved the white flag and bought it on Audible to like get through the last bit of it the same day that we were supposed to have our book club meeting, because I don't like not having a book finished when we're talking about it. So I ended up listening to like maybe the last third of the book on Audible, because it's extremely hard to get into. And my friend Valerie told me that this book was one of his most researched and praised novels, but it's also his hardest novel to read. And when she told me that, I felt so much better. I was like, oh my god, okay, it's not just me, that like it was just really hard to get into. It was also the last book he wrote too before he passed. So like I said, it's just a retelling of the myth of Cupid and Psyche. It is hard to get into, but if you do get through it, it gives you a very good message at the end. So there's that one. And then I have this one, The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen? I don't know, I'm sorry. This one, I did not, like, she got me, or they got me on this one, because they wrote this so beautifully, and I honestly did not expect it to take the turn that it did. And it's about these wealthy suburbanites named Matthew and Marissa Bishop, and they go see this therapist named Avery, who technically isn't a therapist anymore because she lost her license. And they tried to go through her like 10-step program in order to rekindle their marriage, because Marissa did step out on her husband. And the twists and turns in this book are crazy. I did not expect it to end the way that it did at all whatsoever. So this was definitely a very good read that I had. Next one is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, and this is kind of like a friends to lovers trope, and basically it's based on Hannah and Fox, and Hannah works for a production company. Fox is a fisherman. She brings her production company to Westport where Fox lives, and she ends up renting his spare bedroom from him, and as you guys can imagine, they end up falling for each other. There are a lot of spicy scenes in here, but it is a pretty easy read. I think I read this in like 3 days, and it only took that long because, you know, kids and interruptions and stuff. But very easy read, very interesting read if you like the friends to lovers trope in books. So my last book is called Piercing the Darkness by Frank Peretti, and this is our book club read for the month of June. And it's about a tiny town called Bacon's Corner that has an attempted murder, a lawsuit against a Christian school. And the main character in it, her name is Sally Beth Rowe, and she's a young loner, a burnout, a kind of leftover hippie, and finds herself caught in the middle of these bizarre events, fleeing for her life while trying to recall her dark past. Across a vast panorama of heart-stopping action, Sally Rowe's journey is a penetrating portrayal of our times, a reflection of our wanderings, and a vivid reminder of the redemptive power of the cross. So it is a Christian fiction, nonfiction. Yeah, Christian nonfiction book. But yeah, this one was also very good as well. I will say though, if you tend to be sensitive to spiritual matters, this is a daytime reading book for sure, but a very good read overall. And then I did subscribe to Book of the Month. If you guys saw on my Instagram, if you don't follow me on there, you definitely should, because I give like real-time book updates or like whatever I'm reading. And so I did get this one. It's called Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier, and apparently this was like a early release specifically for Book of the Month Club. I don't know when it actually comes out, but yeah, so Book of the Month got it for an early release, so I picked this one. seemed very interesting. And it says when Paris Peralta is arrested in her own bathroom, covered in blood, holding a straight razor, her celebrity husband dead in the bathtub behind her, she knows she'll be charged with murder. But as bad as this looks, that's not what worries her the most. With the unwanted media attention now surrounding her, it's only a matter of time before someone from her long hidden past recognizes her and destroys the new life she's worked so hard to build, along with any chance of a future. 25 years earlier, Ruby Reyes, known as the Ice Queen, was convicted of a similar murder in a trial that was a media sensation and riveted the nation. Reyes knows who Paris really is, and when Reyes is unexpectedly granted an early release from prison, she threatens to expose all of Paris's secrets. Left with no other choice, Paris must finally, once and for all, confront the dark past she thought she had escaped. Because the only thing worse than a murder charge is the dark personal history that Paris will do anything to keep hidden. So like I said, I barely cracked into it, but I'm 100% sure I'll finish it by the end of the month. But yeah, so I picked this one. And then on my Kindle, I just started reading Book Lovers, which by Emily Henry, I believe it is, and I've heard very good things about that one as well. So in my next video, I'll definitely give you guys a review of those two books. But anyways, that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.